I feel like this feels like COVID regulation distance over here. You know, I'm just gonna. There we go.
They're like, you messed up our shot.
I don't know. Has anybody ever sat at a fireside chat that far? Like, you don't sit that far from people at a fireside. Hello, everybody. My name's Jason Kuperman, and I'm super excited to be here. OUTFRONT is really happy and thrilled to be at Emerge, and we are even more excited to be here with our client and unbelievably amazing founder of the Poppi beverage brand, Allison Ellsworth. Allison, why don't you introduce yourself?
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me as well. So I am Allison. I'm the founder and chief brand officer at Poppi. And let me just say, seeing our can that big on the screen is, it's a work of art. It looks amazing.
Awesome. For those of you that may not be familiar with OUTFRONT, we're one of the largest out-of-home media companies in the world. We focus on building better brands, businesses, and people, and helping them grow stronger through media placements, audience solutions, and incredible breakthrough creative. So let's get started. I'm gonna ask a couple of questions to help Allison share her story with you. And the first thing I wanna ask is about what drove you to create this brand. As I mentioned to you backstage, like, I've been drinking Poppi now for about 2.5 months. I love it, tastes great, makes me feel better. So I want to thank you and your co-founder husband for bringing us this wonderful, beneficial product. Why did you do it?
All right, so I started the company because a few years ago I suffered from a ton of different health issues. My stomach always hurt and my skin just was not on point and had a total lack of energy. So I did what most people do, is I went to the doctors, they couldn't quite figure it out, but then I started Googling my symptoms. Have you ever done that, where you Google your symptoms?
Every day I'm Googling something I think is wrong with me.
Right, and I'm sure all of you guys do it as well, let's be real. So I kept Googling, and what kept coming up was something I was like, how to reset and detox my body, right? And what kept coming up over and over again was drinking apple cider vinegar. Have you ever taken a shot of straight apple cider vinegar before?
I don't think I have. It doesn't sound very good.
Raise your hand if you've taken a straight shot of apple cider vinegar, right? You're like, this is great, but it's not sustainable. So for me, I started drinking it every single day, and I was shocked at how amazing it made me feel, but I did hate the straight taste of vinegar. So I went to my kitchen and I said, hey, I can make this taste better. This is literally me 3 months pregnant, bottling it in our living room because I just was so passionate. I was like, I have to share this with everybody, a way that we got apple cider vinegar to taste good, which is wild. But soon after that, we took it to the local farmers market, and we were there week after week, and we kept selling out. We were bottling it during the week, working through the weekend, working 2 jobs at night to pay our rent, and within 3 weeks of being there, we had the Whole Foods buyer come by our booth and say, hey, you guys need to be in Whole Foods. I remember looking at my husband saying, like, we don't even have nutritionals or UPCs. Like, how are we gonna be in Whole Foods?
So that sounds like it was a sort of a pivot moment for you, where you guys had this passion project on the side and going to the farmer's market, and now you're staring at this huge commercial opportunity through a deal with Whole Foods. What kind of helped you? What was your thought process in saying, you know what, let's turn this from a hobby into our focus in our careers?
So I think a lot of entrepreneurs are crazy, let's be real, and I didn't really think about it. We're like, oh, it's Whole Foods. Naturally, we're gonna jump in with, full force with, 2 feet. And we decided at that time to open our own manufacturing facility. We put our life savings into it, just by one yes that we got at that Whole Foods. And it's so funny, this whole time, my husband, I remember looking at me and he's like, you're pregnant, we just bought a house, like we're insane, but we definitely did it all. This is actually, our first employee, child labor laws, don't come after us, but it was crazy. We used to bottle 4 bottles a minute, and now I think we're up to like 2,000 cans like a second. Like, it's crazy just how far we've come.
That's amazing.
So we did what, you know, any natural, like, American dream company does, and we went onto the show Shark Tank. And yes, I did go on the show 9 months pregnant, had the baby 10 days later, which is crazy. But we did end up getting a deal with Rohan Oza, who is a beverage shark.
What was it like? What do you think going on Shark Tank did for honing your story and getting people to believe in what you believed in and to follow your passion and invest in it? I'm sure a lot of people out here who are in startups would love to know, how do I get other people as excited as I am to the point where they want to be on this journey with me?
Yeah, I think it goes back to being a fearless entrepreneur. Like, everything doesn't have to be perfect. You kind of just have to jump in with 2 feet and go for it. This was just like a natural progression. I think it's like, goes back to the American dream. You start something in your kitchen and you go on Shark Tank. Like, I just thought that's what you did. I didn't think anything, like, I didn't know there was other ways to do things. But we did end up getting a deal, and what was crazy with it though is he was like, look, I love your product, it tastes amazing, but your branding, it really sucks, right? And I was like, excuse me? Okay, I started looking at it. So this was our first branding that we did. It was called Mother Beverage. It was named after the mother of vinegar. And we were like, okay, we gotta go through a rebrand. And so we ended up taking 8 months off and going through a rebrand. This was like one stage, we're like, do we keep the mother, mom and pop? Thank goodness we are not called mom and pop. Like, oh, so glad we didn't go with that. And then we were even gonna be like, do we do white cans? Because it's healthy and you get that healthy halo effect. But really what we decided and what we've learned now being 3 years into Poppi is the #1 reason people drink Poppi is because it tastes good, right? So color screams taste, it screams fun. We ended up coming up with the name Poppi. It's a play off of soda pop, and of course we pop off the shelf.
Amazing.
So obviously, you know, we were 8 months in, and then we decided to launch our product, Poppi. And what was really crazy here is the timing, right? It was March of 2020 when we finally decided to truly launch Poppi in all those Whole Foods. We had a national rollout in Whole Foods and in Sprouts.
Seems like great timing. There was nothing else going on in the world in March of 2020 that I can remember. So.
No, yeah, you're like, huh. We're like, okay, do we not launch this COVID thing? I don't know if it's gonna be as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be. Little did we know, and we all know what it turned into, but we went for it and we decided to launch. We had something that worked really well for us though, is we had filmed an update on Shark Tank before COVID hit, and reintroducing Poppi and the rebrand and the story. And the episode aired on a Friday of April of 2020. Now, how often is everyone sitting at home, but like second month of lockdown? So we ended up breaking the internet. Our website crashed, we sold out everywhere. And what was really insane is we had launched on Amazon, thank goodness, because I think most stores were more worried about getting like toilet paper on the shelf, right? So we really pivoted to being like, all right, Amazon, digital, let's go. And right away, we hit #1 on Amazon's hot new products list. We went from $9,000 to over $250,000 on Amazon, and we ended up trending higher than Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump at that time when our episode aired.
Wow, you struck a nerve. That's amazing.
It was pretty wild.
So that's incredible. The brand has exploded. You've built, as mentioned the other day, I was at Botanical Garden. They were selling it. You're at Target. You're at all these brands now. But DTC is still really important to you guys. Maybe tell us a little bit about the campaign that you launched last summer in advance of Amazon Prime Day.
Yeah, so we decided right off the bat, we saw the power of being a digital first brand, of like what commercials can do and what visuals can do and out of home and like connecting with the consumer and telling our story, right? We learned that really like month 1. A lot of brands don't really understand that until you're a few years in. So we did a campaign with you guys last year and it was really powerful. We found a way to use our influencers that are really native to who we are here at Poppi. We're able to tell our story and then visually bring it to life. But I think rather than me explaining it, I actually feel like we have a fun little video that I think will explain a little bit better.
Right. Gotta have some volume on this.
Oh yeah, okay.
If you wanna run away with me, I know a galaxy and I can take you for a ride. I had a premonition that we fell into a rhythm where the music don't stop for life. Glitter in the sky, glitter in my eyes, shining just the way you like. If you're feeling like you need a little bit of company, you met me at the perfect time. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you. Moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. I believe that you're for me. I feel it.
Hey.
That's amazing. Tell us a little bit more about sort of this connection between what you were doing with your social and what your social was doing on its own. It's just incredible, the viral power of your brand and how Out of Home played into driving that type of engagement.
Yeah, so, something with that video that we learned worked really well is, you hear of people using influencers online and they're posting about it, but we found a way to marry the two. And what it did is, we might have an influencer contracted for, a post, but you put them on a billboard or some kind of like digital panel or something like that, and they want to post about it, right? They want their friends to post about it. And so we ended up seeing, I think one of the people we worked with, we had him contracted for 2 posts, he ended up posting 75 times, right? So the amplification through it was really, really powerful. And something that we haven't really talked about yet is just like what we've seen with the power of like marrying the two. So we, on top of it, have a really successful strategy on TikTok to the point of, I have multiple videos with over 71 million views. We just sit down, we talk about the product. We're authentic with the consumer. We aren't like super showy or high gloss. It's just like me and how I'm talking to you guys here today, to where we have 1 billion page views on our TikTok in less than 2 years. Wow. It's pretty wild with that.
So just going back to the Out of Home, it sounds like you're saying that the billboards and the bus ads almost provide a backdrop for the influencers, and it like re-engages the influencers into the campaign that they're promoting on social.
Yeah, and we were just seeing people were going like wild for it on our socials, and it's just important to talk about the marrying of the two, right? Here, I'll go to this next slide where it's truly, we had, I think, a really great campaign where we married our beautiful cans with the influencers. I even like went out, this is like with my husband, the other founder, and took our baby and we went around the city and we really saw how it worked together in such like a really, really beautiful way that was really powerful, because on top of it, something else that we're doing right now, we're actually working with you guys on our campaign for this summer. And we're gonna do a little bit of a different spin on bringing in our community, right? So we're gonna take it one step further. So we worked with our influencers with the digital, but there's a lot of consumers out there that love Poppi. So we're gonna find a really fun way to bring them into the campaign and their voice heard.
Fantastic. All right, I've got one more question. It's incredible. You've taken us on the journey from kitchen to the side of a bus in New York City. I mean, how does that make you feel when you saw these ads on billboards and you saw these ads on buses? How did that make you feel, knowing that this was something you started just a few years ago in your kitchen?
Well, I think, as a young entrepreneur, before we were even on Shark Tank, I think you think, oh my goodness, a billboard. Like only a really big company does a billboard. Like a billboard, I've made it, right? Type of a feeling. So it is kind of wild to see it. Obviously we had to fly out there, I had to see it in real life, and it's kind of just like such a surreal moment to realize that we could literally have a billboard. I don't know, it's almost like an undescribable feeling, but I think that I think a big misconception is like, oh, only big brands do that, right? Or like, I don't know, you
Big
might.
established brands that have been around for years.
Yeah, and so like even part of what we're doing this summer on our next campaign with you guys is we're gonna have like a little bit more fun with the placements, where we're gonna do them in smaller cities like Atlanta and Austin, and do it around the influencers and like where they live, because the amplification will go bigger, it'll go further. If it's like you put one with the influencer that has 1.7 million followers, you put it in Austin on the campus that she's going to, right? Her friends are gonna go wild with it. So once again, just marrying the two, and just like that feeling of, Mom, I made it, I'm on a billboard, or my company's on a billboard, it's really cool.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Allison. Thank you for being here, and thank you everybody for having us.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Yay.